Hello and welcome to Plus TV Africa. I'm Benga Borowat with the news on the hour. The family of former Inspector General of Police Gambo Jimeta has refuted the reports of his death, which went viral earlier today, saying the elder statesman is very much alive. An online newspaper had broken the story of his alleged death earlier today, a report that was latched on upon by other mediums. A daughter of the retired Super Cop confirmed to Premium Times that her father was still alive at Wednesday afternoon, and that whatever news to the contrary that was going around was false. The Nigerian Customs Service Command in Badagry says it has destroyed expired and seized medicaments in its warehouse with a duty-paid value of 102 million naira. The command spokesperson, Saidu Abdullahi, in a statement released in Lagos today, said the destruction was supervised by the Director General of NAFDAC, Mojisola Adeyeye, and the Area Controller, Mohammed Aliyu. The drugs destroyed were tramadol caps and tabs, codeine, diazepam tabs, anogen injection, Medic 5 paracetamol with caffeine, dexamethasone tabs alongside expired rice, food seasoning and fertilizers. The All Progressive Congress chairmanship aspirant and former Edo State Governor, Senator Oserimen Osumbo, has withdrawn from the chairmanship race. Osumbo, in a statement on Wednesday, said this was done out of respect for President Muhammadu Buhari and endorsed former Edo State Governor Adams Oshomale for the chairmanship position. Osumbo, the second aspirant, aside Ibrahim Amokpaire, withdrawing from the chairmanship and endorsing Oshomale, who has the support of President Buhari and top leaders of the party. He said he made the decision after extensive discussions and consultations with party members and his family, friends and associates. Clement Ebri of Cross River State is currently the only candidate contesting for the chairmanship with former Governor Adams Oshomale. The indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, says it's resuming plans to hold a referendum towards the peaceful restoration of the defunct Republic of Biafra. IPOB spokesperson Emma Powerful, in a statement yesterday, said the first phase will be held in the coming weeks. Powerful says IPOB has printed 40 million ballot papers to be distributed to all adults in every clan and village in Biafra land. In the first phase of the referendum, the secessionist group noted that its mission is to restore Biafra sovereignty via a democratic process. Nnamdi Kanu, who's facing charges of treasonable felony at the Federal High Court in Abuja, has led calls for an independent Biafra republic from the Nigerian state through referendum. The trial of a People's Democratic Party Senator, Peter Nwaoboshi, commenced today at a Federal High Court in Lagos. The senator is facing a two-count charge alongside two firms, Golden Touch Construction Project Limited and Swimming Electricals Limited, by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, for money laundering and conspiracy. The senator is accused in the first count with Golden Touch Construction Project Limited of acquiring a property known as Guinea House at Marine Road, Apapa, Lagos, between May and June 2014, costing 805 million naira through fraudulent means. The second charge accuses Swimming Electricals of assisting Mr. Nwaoboshi of committing money laundering along with Golden Touch Constructions Limited. The prosecution presented two witnesses, Prince Popogbiri, an owner of a non-governmental organization, Anti-Corruption and Integrity Forum, and a real estate firm, Murtala Abubakar, the head of Enterprise Risk Management Unit at the Nigerian Export-Import Bank, where Mr. Nwaoboshi was a former board member. Mr. Abubakar also said that Swimming Electricals Nigeria Limited applied for a loan at the bank in December 2013 and got approval in 2014 on the request of the EFCC for an adjournment to enable it assemble 4 witnesses as a continuation of trial was fixed for 2nd of July and 3rd of July. The Senate President, Bukola Saraki, is seeking the support of Russia in continuing efforts towards the eradication of what he described as new terrorism challenges in Nigeria. He made the call while speaking at the Russian Parliament, better known as the Federation Council of the Federal Assembly of the Russian Federation in Moscow. Saraki pointed to the persistent farmers' herdsmen as among the emerging new terrorism in Nigeria that requires urgent attention and support of Russia. The Senate President, who also called for stronger economic and cultural cooperation between Nigeria and Russia, thanked the chairperson of the Federation Council, Valentina Matvienko, at whose invitation he and his colleagues were in Russia. He expressed confidence that the visit marks a new phase of international parliamentary cooperation between the two countries and the Nigeria-Russia relationship in general. The government of Niger State says it has approved 25 million naira for its Ministry of Health to carry on with the ongoing surveillance on the outbreak of cholera in the state. Health and Hospital Management Commissioner Jibrin Mustapha, at a press conference in Minna today, said the funds will be used to curtail the disease as well as prevent other outbreaks throughout the year. Mustapha said while 120 cases were reported from Bida, Bako, Kacha, and 11 local government areas, 7 people had died since the outbreak of the disease was confirmed yesterday. He said 5 among the cases tested positive to Vibrio cholera, adding that 20 other persons who were admitted were responding to treatment. The commissioner urged the people to embrace personal and environmental hygiene, consume clean water, and dispose plastic bags containing feces in latrines. The Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Boss Mustapha, in a memorandum, put the Nigerian Customs Service and the Nigerian Civil Aviation Authority and also the Federal Airports Authority of Nigeria on red alert following threat by the Islamic State to Nigeria. In a May 25th memo by O.M. Olaoye on his behalf, the SGF informed the NCS of impending threats to commercial flights out of the country. The SGF memo said, from the foregoing report, vigorous vetting of airline personnel and screening of passengers, as well as increased vigilance on restricted areas at airports, are advised. The NCS, in a June 13 internal memo, directed its area controller to intensify the screening process of all passengers and luggage, including other measures you may deem fit to forestall any potential security breach as directed. Following the visit of the Chief of Army Standards and Evaluation, Major General Adekunle Sodunke, to the Standards Organization of Nigeria to iron out collaborations on the certification of the Nigerian Army process on International Standards Organization Quality Management System standards, the Nigerian Army has expressed commitment to improving its management quality. The Army has also pledged to improve its current process in accordance with the international standards as taught by officials of the Standards Organization of Nigerian Training Services Department in the ongoing exercise. Speaking at the opening of the ISO Quality Management System Standards Implementation Training, in which 12 officers of the Army Standards and Evaluation Department in Abuja were in attendance, Major General Adekunle Sodunke stated that the training is the first in a series that will include officers from all departments of the Nigerian Army involved in standards evaluation and monitoring. And on the foreign scene, ex-president of Zimbabwe, Robert Mugabe, had today left his country for Singapore on a medical checkup, according to a local privately owned daily. An unnamed source confirmed that Mugabe left the country 2 weeks ago after his blood pressure rose to dangerous levels suddenly. The 94-year-old was accompanied by his wife, Grace. A man in Mombasa, Kenya, has been convicted for being in possession of elephant tusk worth 1.4 million shillings. Maurice Mulimu has been sentenced to 8 years imprisonment after the court found him guilty of committing the offense in April last year. According to Mombasa resident magistrate Martin Ribera, there was no doubt that Mr. Mulimu was guilty, as evidence shows he was found with the tusk. Cardinal Theodore McCarrick of Washington, D.C., has been advised by the Vatican to cease public ministry following investigative findings that revealed he was credibly accused of sexually abusing a teenager almost 50 years ago. The Archdiocese said on Wednesday, according to a private group, bishopaccountability.org. Concerned with tracking all the allegations, McCarrick has been listed as the highest ranking of the more than 6,700 United States Roman Catholic clerics to be accused of sexually abusing children since the church's sex abuse scandal broke out in 2002. McCarrick, now 87 years old, was accused of sexually abusing a teenager when he was a priest in New York. Though he claimed innocence, further probing an investigation by the judge found the allegations to be credible and substantiated, the Archdiocese confirmed. The Vatican Secretary of State, Cardinal Pietro Parolin, at the direction of our Holy Father, Pope Francis, has instructed Cardinal McCarrick that he is to refrain from any public ministry or activity until a definite decision is made, the Archdiocese said. McCarrick said he would follow the Vatican's instruction. And in business, the Nigerian Ports Authority has announced that a total of 29 ships are expected to sail into the country between June 20 and the 23rd of July, with 11 of them laden with different goods and products expected at the Tin Can and Apapa ports today. According to the NPA, 5 of the expected 29 ships are carrying petrol, with 24 others laden with frozen fish, soya beans, empty containers, bulk gas, base oil, buckwheat, and general cargo. On Monday, the Transition Company of Nigeria, TCN, confirmed increase of power generation to the national grid to 3,876 megawatts. TCN, through its spokesperson Ndidi Mba, on Tuesday attributed the increase to the improvement in supply of gas to power generating plants stirred by the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation and NPC. TCN on Sunday blamed power outages experienced across the nation on a rupture in a gas pipeline. This subsequently led to the shutdown of 6 power stations, followed by a steep drop in power generation by 1,087 megawatts. Mba further confirmed that the NNPC has restored the ruptured pipeline and that the required gas is gradually building up in the generating stations. She stated that gas and power should be back to normal in a few days, while the power stations would resume operations and commend the quick intervention efforts of the NNPC. She also confirmed that the TCN is building new substations and upgrading already existing substations all over the country, which should help bring about stability. Shell has announced the sale of some of its oil and gas assets to Okia, a Norwegian producer, which is its 45% interest in Drogen Norwegian offshore field and 12% in its Gjøa block, for a total cost of $566 million. This comes a short while after Shell also announced its completed sale of 15% stake in Malaysian LNG to Sarawak State Financial Secretary at the tune of $750 million. The completion of this recent deals brings Shell's total asset sale to about $27 billion since the commencement of their 3-year sale plan, which commenced in 2015, according to calculations by Reuters. Olaberten Moe, Norway's former oil minister, the deal provides the first sizable stake in a producing field on the continental shelf of Norway. In total, Okia says the 2 fields will deliver around 22,000 barrels of oil per day. Up next is entertainment news.
In entertainment, Black China and her 19-year-old rapper toy boy Jay Almighty have been in the news for the past few weeks. First for her alleged pregnancy, then her alleged breakup and makeup. Also for the disclaimer of China's pregnancy, which was alleged to be fathered by Jay Almighty. It seemed like all was going smoothly until waves rocked the China boat, as Jay Almighty has taken to his Instagram to disclose he's no longer with Black China. The couple only dated for 3 months when they revealed they met on Christian Mingle earlier this year and were first spotted together at Payne's Bowling Alley in Los Angeles in March. Remember, on June 12, an American media agency reported that China wasn't pregnant but just bloated. Black China's fans are still awaiting her comment, as she's yet to speak on the breakup. The hip-hop community hasn't gotten over the death of fast-rising rapper Ex-IGP who was shot dead in an alleged robbery when news broke about the murder of another young talented rapper, Nwaoboshi, who was shot in a drive-by shooting in Pennsylvania City the same day as Ex-IGP. It was reported that the young rapper was shot as he sat with a friend in a car. Both men were hit and rushed to the hospital, but unfortunately, Nwaoboshi, who had just signed a major record deal, didn't make it. The hip-hop community mourns their fallen soldiers. Black Panther star Chadwick Boseman was at the MTV Movie Awards to represent Black Panther, which gained 7 nominations at the award. Chadwick personally won the Best Hero Award and directed his thanks to the fans who he claims made it a phenomenon. In his speech, he said real-life heroes should be honored. Following this, he called out James Shaw Jr., ushering him to the stage and handed him the Best Hero Award, to the surprise of everyone. James Shaw is the man who tackled and disarmed a gunman at Waffle House in Nashville back in April during a fatal shooting. This was a very commendable gesture, and many thought it restored faith in humanity. And that's it on entertainment. Up next is Udoka with sports.
This is Sports Update on Plus TV Africa. I am Udoka Njoko. Update so far from the World Cup games. Uruguay played Saudi Arabia, and that game ended 1-0 in favor of Uruguay. And Spain will play Iran later and hope to get all 3 points in that one to secure possibility of moving into the round of 16 for the World Cup. Moving into tennis, talking about Stan Wawrinka now. The Swiss was unable to convert 12 break points in the game as he lost to Sam Querrey in the second round of the Fever 3 Championships at Queen. Stan Wawrinka lost 7-5, 6-7, 6-1 to Sam Querrey, and he dropped in the world ranking to 261. Stan Querrey, the 5th seed at the tournament, will go on to face the winner in the next game. And of course, for American Frances Tiafoe, he reached his first ATP grass courts quarterfinals with a 6-4, 2-6, 6-4 win over Leonardo Meyer of Argentina. Still on tennis, Simona Halep has withdrawn from next week's tournament in Eastbourne, the final grass court event before Wimbledon, because of an injury. Romania's world #1 said she had yet to recover from pain and inflammation in her Achilles tendon, which began during the French Open. And Halep went on to claim her first Grand Slam title at Roland Garros. So talking about tennis, Japan's Naomi Osaka retired from a second-round match against Dalila Jakupovic in Birmingham with an abdominal problem. And Osaka, ranked 18th in the world, struggled on serve and lost the first set 6-3 before calling for the trainer. She previously struggled with an abdominal injury during last year's hard-court season. In the Slovenian qualifier, Jakupovic will next face Magdalene Rybarikova in the Nature Valley Classic quarterfinals. And for Rybarikova, she reached the Wimbledon semifinals last year, overcame France's Kristina Mladenovic 3-6, 6-2, 6-1. And Naomi Osaka is scheduled to play in the WTA event at Eastbourne, which begins on the 25th of May. Looking forward to the game between Spain and Iran. Looking for seeing if Spain can actually get all 3 points in that one. The game kicks off by 7 p.m. That's what we can take for a sport update on Plus TV Africa. I am Udoka Njoko. Back to you, Benga.
Thanks, Udoka. That's the news at this hour. I'm Benga Aborowa. Do have a great evening.